It is well known in the aristocratic circle that the third young master of the Lu family has a solitary and widowed destiny, with neither marriage nor children. In order to change her life, Lu's mother bravely ventured into the entertainment industry alone, just to turn a certain 18th-tier company into the door and break this fate for her son. Shen Yaning was smashed with money as soon as she wore a book. But as a wealthy heiress with a monthly allowance exceeding 7 figures, can you easily be knocked unconscious by money? It's just a joke. Sorry, I'm not a proponent of marriage. It's great to be single. Handsome guys from all over the world, as long as they like it, can be married into the harem. She's crazy and only uses it as a reproductive tool for others. The old lady couldn't defeat Shen Yaning, so she had to force her son to personally go out of the mountain. She thought that her younger, who had a cold personality, lacked experience in chasing girls, but little did she know that on the day she met Shen Yaning, she had already been put into a warm water pot by her son. Shen Yaning has a top-notch boss. This boss combines beauty, intelligence, and wealth, and is very honest. His salary is not only paid on time, but he also provides excellent employee benefits. Others take 2 days off from work, while she takes 5 days off from work. Others only receive performance bonuses, while she receives large red envelopes with soft hands. It's difficult for others to see the CEO of the company. She seems to see it every day. When she was spoiled by Lu Huijin and envied by both humans and gods, Shen Yaning realized later that the water in the pot had become boiling hot. Sweet pet plus fantasy variety plus double strong plus universal friend gold finger. Another introduction can be found in the comments section. Keywords of the novel. Xiaozuo Jingshang fantasy variety show has gone viral. No pop-ups. Xiaozuo Jingshang's fancy variety show has gone viral. Download the complete TXT collection. The mini-series has become popular after showcasing fancy variety shows. Latest chapter reading. Chapter 1. The original owner's vanity and worship for money. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. The original owner's vanity and worship for money. You said, "You're being pretentious until the end, haven't you climbed onto my bed? Since you want resources, then take care of me well. As long as you are obedient, you can freely choose from the diverse resources." The pungent alcohol smell made Shen Yaning wake up slowly, perhaps due to medication in her body, which made her reaction a bit sluggish. But it didn't prevent her from forcefully breaking the salty pig hand on her waist. Ah! Stinky bitch! A scream almost shattered her eardrums. And the old embryo who was kicked out of bed by her was glaring at her fiercely, as if she was about to cut her alive. A few people quickly rushed in outside the door. "Mr. Yang. Lao Sei embryo has already climbed up from the ground. Hurry up, hold her down for me." Several burly men, upon receiving orders, immediately approached Shen Yaning and within 3 minutes, were killed by a seemingly weak little woman. After solving the problem in front of her, Shen Yaning bent down and took out a few wet wipes from the cardboard box, wiping her hands with disgust. The unfamiliar environment around her made her frown frequently. As she walked out of the moonlight carrying her bag, her phone inside suddenly hummed a few times. With the press of the call button, a high-decibel voice directly pierced her eardrums. "Shen Yaning. If you don't want to get involved in this circle, just tell me earlier and don't make trouble for me all day, okay? Mr. Yang, you dare to fight, are you crazy? I don't care what method you use, Mr. Yang, you must coax me, otherwise, you'll just wait for me to be banned." Perhaps the other person's voice was too friendly. Shen Yaning first had a moment of confusion, and then a memory that did not belong to her quickly flooded into her mind. She seems to be wearing a book. The original owner had a face very similar to hers, even giving the same name, but with a completely opposite personality. In the book, the original owner was unwilling to be ordinary and only wanted to fly to the branches. In order to marry the male lead Jiang Yuchen and become a wealthy wife, she schemed and engaged in hidden struggles with the female lead, Gu Mingyan, who was also an artist. And the constantly expanding jealousy also made her personality more and more distorted, ultimately leading her to a path of no return that trampled on the legal red line. Unlike her impoverished family, she is a wealthy heiress with a monthly allowance of over 7 figures. She grew up in a honeypot and was greatly favored by her parents. She is neither lacking in money nor love, nor lacking in confidence and courage. Then let's ban it. Don't forget, you borrowed 300,000 yuan from the company and haven't paid it back yet. There is also money used by the company to cultivate you, at least hundreds of thousands. If you are banned, how do you plan to repay this money? Shen Yaning's eyebrows furrowed lightly. The original owner was too poor. Not only was his pocket clean, but even the amount on his bank card was less than 3 digits. And Chen Guiqin, on the surface, appears to be the agent of the original owner, but in fact, she is a pimp who deceives the company when she sees beautiful girls, and then uses some disgusting means to make these girls obedient. I was about to succeed tonight, but unfortunately, things didn't go as planned. I believe I have enough patience with you. If you still don't listen, don't blame me for being impolite to you. Shen Yaning was a newcomer with no family or friends, so naturally she didn't want to cause trouble for herself. Sister, I want to advance a little more money, 500,000 yuan. In 3 days, I will pay it off along with the money I owed the company before. If I break my promise, I will. Listen to everything sister says. Shen Yaning's gentle attitude made Chen Guiqin lower her guard. The company is definitely not willing to lend you this money again. Alright, I will personally lend it to you first. In 3 days, I hope you can fulfill your promise. In Chen Guiqin's view, Shen Yaning is unable to repay all the debts in a short period of time. So, after transferring the money to her, I didn't care about her anymore. After receiving the transfer, Shen Yaning went directly to the airport and booked a ticket to fly to Chuncheng. Because there is the largest production area of Pei Chui raw stone in the country. Besides being a foodie, she also has a quirk of liking all unknown and uncertain stimuli, such as opening clams, gambling stones, opening blind boxes, and so on. Her research in this area is enough to help her overcome her debt burden. There are several wholesale markets for raw stones in Chuncheng. After wandering around, she picked out a few relatively good raw stones in an inconspicuous corner. The final price is 420,000 yuan, and it's a deal. The first raw stone is made entirely of gambling material. She first had someone open a small skylight on the shell, revealing a very beautiful jade quality. The window opens wider and wider until the entire piece of material is peeled off, with consistent water and color. It's a rich and pure purple. Super high saturation. In the crowd, someone exclaimed, "This is Emperor Purple." Shen Yaning's mouth curved. It was indeed an imperial purple, and the water was excellent, but the ingredients were a bit small. The boss was also surprised and said, "Little girl, do you have any research in this area?" Shen Yaning humbly said, "I dare not, it's just luck." The boss started doing business with Shen Yaning on the spot and said, "Miss, is this jade material for sale?" Shen Yaning didn't hesitate and said, "I've been a bit tight lately. Otherwise, I'll take it home and collect it." "Well, this material is estimated to sell for at least 15 million yuan, and I'm not greedy, only 10 million yuan. The boss saw that she was a knowledgeable person, so he didn't negotiate any further, but he thought about a few other pieces of raw material that hadn't been cut yet. "Do you still open these pieces?" Shen Yaning said, "Open." As it turned out, Shen Yaning's luck was not average. The remaining stones all won the lottery. Although they were not as good as the first one, their appearance was also good. In the end, she sold them directly to the boss for 12 million yuan. Shen Yaning returned the money to the company as promised, but Chen Guiqin was surprised and reacted very quickly. Luck is quite good, but the contract clearly states that if you don't follow the company's arrangements, it's a breach of contract, and this penalty is not a small amount. The original owner's entertainment company, Fantastic Entertainment, has a signing period of up to 10 years, and the penalty for breach of contract exceeds 8 digits. But for Shen Yaning, anything that can be solved with money is not a problem. 20 million, right? Tomorrow, I'll bring the lawyer. Chen Guiqin stared at Shen Yaning for a few seconds, feeling that the little girl in front of her was not quite the same as before. It seems that you have found a support for yourself. Shen Yaning didn't take her blame and was about to get up and leave, but the other party suddenly changed their attitude and threw a big bait at her. Ning Ning, it's really a pity that your face is not developing in the entertainment industry. Well, the company has a betting agreement that as long as you earn 100 million within 3 years, the company will let you leave and pay you double the salary, but if you don't earn enough within 3 years, you'll have to work hard for the company until the contract expires. As if seeing her not letting go, Chen Guiqin once again baited her. The second season of My Neighbor is about to start filming, and your senior sister Chen is unable to participate in the recording due to illness. This opportunity is for you. This program has invited a total of 4 pairs of children, grandparents, and grandchildren, including a group of guests. The younger generation needs those who have lost their parents, while the older generation needs those who have lost their descendants. Your qualifications are just right. Shen Yaning is not interested in filming or anything, but he is very interested in the 2 guests invited by the program team. Jiang Yuchen and Gu Mingyan, the male and female protagonists in the book. For some reason, she agreed to sign this gambling agreement with Fun. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. 3 groups of guests. She offended 2 groups. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. 3 groups of guests. She offended 2 groups. Yancheng is undoubtedly a bustling city, surrounded by streets and towering buildings. After leaving the company, Shen Yaning did not take a taxi home, but instead took a walk in the bustling streets bathed in the sunshine of a different world. The artist's dormitory is not far from the company. She originally wanted to find a place to have a full meal before returning, but was blocked by several men in suits. Miss Shen, our boss wants to see you. There is a black business car parked on the roadside, which has undergone special modifications and is quite expensive at first glance. The car window rolled down, revealing a cold and noble face, with an outstanding and noble temperament, and a deep and pleasant voice. My surname is Liu, and I am in the jade and stone business. Shen Yaning's gaze was quickly drawn to a piece of pastry on the shelf, and it was her instinct to swallow delicious food. I don't know if Mr. Liu is looking for me. Shi Jianshi, with a base salary of 100,000 yuan, will give you a 20% commission for every 1 yuan earned. Is Miss Shen satisfied? Shen Yaning had long anticipated that someone would come knocking on her door. In real life, the Shen family is in the jade and stone business, so no matter how high someone offered, she wouldn't be tempted. But now she is in the book, she has the right to make her own choices. I only work 5 days a month, so I don't want the base salary anymore. If Mr. Liu can accept it, then I wish us a pleasant cooperation. A hint of surprise flashed in Lu Huijin's pool eyes, but he also respected the other party's choice. Happy cooperation. An hour later, Lu Huijin's lawyer arrived at her dormitory with a very sincere contract and a lifetime free VIP card from the Xiaozuo. The boss is very generous, not only taking care of food but also managing it. She is very satisfied with her new residence, which is 2 bedrooms and 2 living rooms, very close to the airport. In the following days, she almost ate all the delicious food in Yancheng, so much so that when she joined the group, she gained 5 pounds. The reality show Grandparents is recorded and broadcasted live, and compared to the outdated artists invited in the first season, the guests invited in the second season are quite impressive. Top-flowing Jiang Yuchen and his comedian grandfather, a small flower named Gu Mingyan and her gentle and virtuous grandmother, cross-talk prodigy Chen Cheng and his great straight-grandfather. The last group consists of her as a newcomer in the industry, as well as an old lady who has no blood relationship and pursues stars. In the book, the original owner also participated in this variety show. As Jiang Yuchen's girlfriend Fan, she tried to restrain her liking as much as possible, but couldn't see that he was good to Gu Mingyan. So on the show, she had various competitions with Gu Mingyan. Finally, on the black and red road, it never returns. Who is this woman? Why haven't you seen her before? She's quite beautiful. Checked it out, Shen Yaning is a diverse artist. Currently, there are not many works, only a few sets of photos have been released, featuring the character of a jade maiden. Is there a jade girl in the crowd? Laugh Yue. My friend is in the circle. I heard from her that entertainment artists are all priced clearly. Everyone in the industry knows what entertainment is like, so the other three groups of guests were relatively polite to her in front of the camera, but quite indifferent behind the camera. The recording location for the first episode of the program was set at Cheongdao. After arriving at the destination, the first task arranged by the director is to set up a tent, win points, work in pairs, and freely group. The first place winner will have the right to choose the best food. The old lady in the group with Shen Yaning, surnamed Hua, is a fan of Jiang Yuchen's grandmother. She came to this program purely to have close contact with her idol. So without hesitation, she raised her hand and said, I want to work with Xiaojiang. The director looked at Shen Yaning and said, do you want to fight for it again? Shen Yaning decisively gave up. If my heart is not on me, what's the use of fighting? At this moment, Grandpa Chen suddenly spoke up and said, my grandson, I want to work with Xiao Gu. Then I'll work with Grandma Gu. It's not tiring to work with a male-female partner. As Grandpa Chen finished speaking, Grandma Hua immediately stood by Jiang Yuchen's side and said, yes, we need to match men and women. Finally, Shen Yaning and Grandpa Jiang were forced to form a group. After the competition started, the other three groups were all striving for the first place. When the camera reached Shen Yaning's place, the scene seemed to freeze, and after a while, the conversation between the two was heard. Grandpa Jiang. Can you set up a tent? Shen Yaning said, I don't know. Grandpa Jiang. I don't know how to do it either. Let's just mess it up together. Shen Yaning said, agree. The director of the production team furrowed his brow and shouted, what a mess. Without a tent, you'll have to sit on the stage tonight. Grandpa Jiang was indifferent and said, if I sleep on the ground, I'll sleep on the ground. Although I'm sick, I might get sick at any time. But don't worry, I declare that if I have any problems, I won't seek compensation from the program team. Director. Shen Yaning catered to Grandpa Jiang's green tea style and said, I actually quite enjoy blowing sea breeze. Although my immune system is not very good, I will definitely have a fever if I blow a cold wind, but I'm carrying fever-reducing medicine, so I shouldn't die. Working personnel Song Dao suddenly had a bad premonition that these two people should be the thorns of this season, and it was still the kind that was difficult to handle. I don't know how to match, learn from others. Grandpa Jiang has already decided to go all out and say, I'm getting old and my hands-on ability is not good enough. I'm afraid I won't be able to do it until tomorrow morning. Shen Yaning's expression was innocent. Although I am young, my learning ability is not strong. The director was about to be furious and said, I can't learn, can I always ask for help from others? Grandpa Jiang sat down on the lounge chair and began drinking water leisurely. I won't say earlier, but when Yuchen finishes building his roof, he will naturally come and help us build it, he said. Shen Yaning glanced at the time, then at the progress of the other groups, and resolutely stepped on the balance bike, riding towards the small fishing village behind him. As soon as I entered the village, I met a savior. The two bodyguards sent by Lu Huijin to protect her were dressed in casual clothes but still conspicuous. They were hired from the space security group with a monthly salary of 50,000 yuan, making them one of the top performers. Not to mention setting up tents, even if they were put in the deep mountains and forests for a month, they wouldn't starve to death. 4 minutes later, the first place was born. The production team bought an old-fashioned tent to increase the difficulty of the competition, which was difficult to assemble and fix. The two people brought back by Shen Yaning, well-trained and well-coordinated, quickly set up a tent in the blink of an eye. Grandpa Jiang looked incredulous and said, "Am I supposed to win by lying down? The other three groups of guests haven't said anything yet, and the fans in the live broadcast room are anxious first. Unfair. The other three groups are all assembled and built by themselves. Why do they ask others for help? Shen Yaning is too impolite, isn't she? When someone came to help her with kindness, she didn't even bother to lend a hand and ended up lying in a chair sunbathing. Do I think it's too coincidental for these two men to appear on my own? Everyone, go to Weibo. Shen Yaning's WeChat account has been hacked. She's actually a fan of Jiang Yuchen's girlfriend. She even posted a post secretly mocking Gu Mingyan and liked the comment that Chen Cheng was Gu Mingyan licking her dog. 3 groups of guests, she offended 2 groups, now there's a good show to watch. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. The Director's Grasp. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. The Director's Grasp. During dinner, Grandpa Jiang couldn't help but ask Shen Yaning. Are you really a fan of Yuchen? Shen Yaning was completely focused on the food. Regarding the incident of her nickname being stolen, she was not in a hurry at all. Chen Jia meant not to admit it even if she died, but she did not follow suit. She scooped a spoonful of crab roe rice into her mouth, looking satisfied. Well, it used to be, but not now. Although we haven't been together for a long time, Shen Yaning's outgoing personality is very appealing to Mr. Jiang. The hot searches online. It's true, I really didn't like Teacher Gu before, and liking Teacher Chen's comment wasn't just a slip of the hand. Song Dao. Guests. Audience in the live broadcast room. Grandpa Jiang didn't expect Shen Yaning to publicly admit it, so he sneered and criticized. Ning, Grandpa has to criticize you a few times on this matter. Whether it's about people or things, you can dislike them, but you can't slander them. Shen Yaning nodded and humbly learned. Grandpa's criticism is correct, but for me, if I know my mistake, I will correct it. Shen Yaning picked up his water glass, stood up, and struck in the direction of Gu Mingyan and Chen Cheng. Teacher Gu, Teacher Chen, it used to be my lack of understanding. Regarding the matter on the hot search, I apologize to you. Gu Mingyan did not immediately accept Shen Yaning's apology, but instead asked her about her doubts. We didn't know each other before, did we? And there was no resource conflict. I'm curious, why do you have such great malice towards me? In order to clean up this mess for the original owner, Shen Yaning had to resort to a different approach. Because Teacher Jiang, I am his girlfriend's fan, so naturally I don't like him having too close contact with other female artists. But now that he's okay, I've climbed the wall, so it's much more pleasing to see you. Grandpa Jiang is very familiar with internet buzzwords. Climbing a wall. Why did I suddenly climb a wall? There are even more outstanding male artists in the entertainment industry than my grandson. Shen Yaning did not lie, she is indeed particularly interested in the chef for dinner now. After climbing the wall, Allah is not from this circle. Grandpa Jiang's eyes lit up and he was extremely curious. Which circle is that from? Can the other party have my grandson handsome? Grandpa, when it comes to appearance, it's just superficial. I used to like Teacher Fanjiang not because of his face. I like men who can cook. Yuchen can also do it, and her cooking skills are very good. Shen Yaning pointed to the empty plate in front of him and said. When Teacher Jiang can make such delicious crab roe rice, I will crawl back. Grandpa Jiang began giving orders to Jiang Yuchen. In order to consolidate your fans, you need to quickly improve your cooking skills. Jiang Yuchen paid no attention to Shen Yaning's act of losing fans, and even felt a hint of happiness. Carrots and vegetables, everyone has their own preferences, and I cannot achieve that everyone likes them. Between the guests, there was a faint smell of gunpowder, and the fans in the live broadcast room had already started a tearing-off session. Shen Yaning's daring personality is really popular among fans. Do I Yan deserve to be seen as a hypothetical enemy by his girlfriend fans because I filmed a movie with Jiang Yuchen? Jiang Yuchen also said, don't always think about unrealistic things. You really think you can eventually get married to your idol? Grandpa Jiang made a peace treaty because he liked Shen Yaning. Although Gu Mingyan and Chen Cheng forgave Shen Yaning on the surface, they still looked down on her from the bottom of their hearts. When the guests started talking and laughing again, the director started to mess things up. Are you tired? Do you want to get into bed and have a beautiful sleep? Well, someone has discovered the problem. There are no moisture barriers and sleeping bags in the tent. There is a small fishing village behind, where everyone can borrow blankets from the villagers. 1 blanket can be exchanged for 5 points. 5 points can be exchanged for a sleeping bag or a moisture-proof mat. The guests started heading towards the small fishing village. Shen Yaning talked to the director about something, and when she caught up, the villagers were already waiting at the village head's house. There were at least 30 people in a group of Wu Yangyang. Chen Cheng, I told everyone about a monologue, but unfortunately, no one understands how to appreciate it. Grandpa Chen has been practicing martial arts since childhood, and despite his performances, he only received bursts of applause. Gu Mingyan, a dancer from a classical dance background, directly broke the record of 0 gains for the guests. Jiang Yuchen, with his own props, performed a magic trick for everyone and, for the first time, won 2 blankets for himself. After all the other guests finished performing, everyone's gaze fell on Shen Yaning. I specifically checked Shen Yaning's character encyclopedia, which is extremely concise. You can see the head at a glance, but there is nothing in the skills section. I heard that after graduating from junior high school, she started working as a waiter and probably only knows how to carry dishes and wash dishes. See, I'll tell you, she can hide her foolishness. Grandpa Jiang and Grandma Gu don't perform because they have grandchildren doting on her. What qualifications does she have to be capricious? Although the program team is live streaming, there will also be staff behind the scenes to appropriately edit the live video. Soon, a conversation between Shen Yaning and the director appeared in the video replay. Before entering the village, Shen Yaning suddenly left the army and went to find the director. The director's surname was Song, and he was a fat man with a shrewd expression on his face. What's up? Shen Yaning asked, can points be exchanged for sleeping bags? The director pointed to the redemption list behind him and said, 1 sleeping bag, 5 points. Shen Yaning said, exchange 2 moisture-proof mats and 2 sleeping bags for me. The director subconsciously thought, do you want to borrow points? The daily interest rate is 100%. Shen Yaning's mind didn't get wet again. No, I want the director to give me a discount. After the director realized it, he was laughed at angrily and said, I just want to exchange 5 points for so many things, you're joking. No matter what Shen Yaning does, she always wants to maximize her benefits. Director, haven't you ever done business before? Business people value having a good start, otherwise everything will go wrong in the future. The director's face turned into a pig liver color and he said, 2 moisture-proof pads, no more. Shen Yaning deliberately said, forget it, I still don't want to exchange it. However, this first order hasn't been negotiated, and the signs are not very good. I hope there won't be a title on the hot search list in the future where the second season of My Neighbor has suffered a disastrous decline in viewership compared to Waterloo. The director quickly cursed twice and said, crow mouth. I'll exchange it for you. But you can't joke about the show again in the future. Shen Yaning suddenly suggested, Director, with your point-based reward system, I think you should be promoted to a lower level. Director. What does it mean? Shen Yaning opened up and said, you know what? You have someone set up a points lottery mini program. The first place has 3 lottery opportunities, the second place has 2 lottery opportunities, and so on. It's fresh and can motivate everyone to do tasks. The director's lifeless eyes suddenly shone brightly. Once the program is completed, I will reward you with 10 more points. The audience in the live broadcast room laughed wildly. Gaga gaga. Shen Yaning knows how to handle directors. Do you remember the first season? 4 groups of guests were played around by the director. I have a premonition that this season, the feng shui will take turns. Why didn't Shen Yaning feel so smart before? Do you know that your jade woman can no longer be established, and you have started to establish a smart character? The camera turned and went back to the village chief's house. Shen Yaning had no intention of performing at the beginning, but she is also a person who likes to take precautions. Without money, she will lack a sense of security, and the same goes for her points. After hesitation, she still walked towards the villagers. Stone, scissors and cloth, 3 wins in 5 innings. Who wants to play? I won. You give me a blanket, you win. I'll perform iron head skill for you. Director, prepare some bricks for me. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Chopped me up and gave you the current food and drinks. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Chopped me up and gave you the current food and drinks. Ning ning, for the sake of points, we shouldn't risk our lives. Grandpa Jiang was afraid that Shen Yaning would get hurt, so he advised against it. I asked Yu Chen to give you his moisture-proof mat. He's a big man and can sleep on the ground. Jiang Yuchen looked at his grandfather as if he had become accustomed to the other person's behavior of deceiving grandchildren, but he didn't object either. The director's eyes lit up and immediately asked someone to find a brick. When Shen Yaning plays games with friends, she rarely loses. In the game of guessing ding shells, as long as she masters the opponent's punching pattern, and then uses the probability of punching, coupled with her understanding of psychology, the probability of winning in the competition will be much higher. I'll come first. A young man jumped out of the village first, laughing silly and a little shy. Shen Yaning first tried playing with him twice, mastered his punching rules, and directly defeated him, achieving a good start. Young people can still fight, but as they get older, their reactions are slow. Shen Yaning relies solely on eye speed and hand speed, which is a steady win. But in this kind of game, if you encounter someone who doesn't play cards properly, the chances of winning are greatly reduced. After winning 6 consecutive games, Shen Yaning encountered an iron plate. Is this kind of brick okay? The staff immediately handed over the prop, which was found from the neighboring villager's house and had a thickness of over 4 centimeters. Shen Yaning reached out and took it. Sure. Grandpa Jiang worried and said, don't try to be too strong. If you can't do it, let Yu Chen replace you. He has practiced taekwondo for a few years. Jiang Yuchen took a deep breath and told himself that this was his own grandfather, so he had to endure it. Chen Cheng has never really liked Shen Yaning, so he took this opportunity to hurt her a few words. Why haven't you performed yet? It's probably accurate. We won't let you slap your head, so you're deliberately boasting, right? As soon as Chen Cheng finished speaking, he saw the brick in Shen Yaning's hand quickly hit her head. Bang! The brick shattered into 2 pieces in response. Shen Yaning spent 5 years at Shaolin Temple when she was a child, and she wanted to go there herself because she was influenced by a certain kung fu drama. After she achieved success in her studies, she returned to secular life. She has perseverance and is not afraid of hardship in things she is interested in, which is why she has made some achievements in stone learning. Have you been injured? Grandpa Jiang quickly stepped forward to check and saw that the place where Shen Yaning had been hit by a brick did not have any broken skin. It was only then that he breathed a sigh of relief. You really know iron head skill. When Shen Yaning was renting a house, she once broke a cabinet partition with her bare hands. At that time, she knew that all her skills had been put into the book. After studying for a while, I only learned a little bit. The competition continued, with a total of 36 innings, and Shen Yaning lost just one inning. Apart from her skill of knowing iron head skill, her skill of playing games was also quite popular. How did Shen Yaning manage to do it? In over 30 innings, she lost one inning. That's amazing. She picked up a brick and smashed it into her head with a sharp force. I really like it. Iron head skill is not easy to practice, nor can it be achieved quickly in a short period of time. With her perseverance in practicing iron head skill, I admire her so much. You have beauty and intelligence, and the key is your martial arts skills. Suddenly, I really want to marry her. 35 rounds, 5 points per round, a total of 175 points. Let me go. This is the guest with the most points since the first season of this program, right? For groups of guests, except for Shen Yaning, the other 3 groups did not earn enough points. Points can be given as gifts. Shen Yaning naturally wouldn't be happy alone. Teacher Gu, Teacher Chen, I'm really sorry about the hot search. To express my apologies, one person gave you 20 points, you must accept it with a smile. Gu Mingyan gave the other person a fake smile and said, thank you, Xiao Shen. When facing Shen Yaning, Chen Qing awkwardly averted his gaze. Shen Yaning's brick directly removed his prejudice against her and made him feel ashamed of his previous words that had hurt her. But with a strong sense of self-esteem, he cannot easily bow down to the other person. Grandpa Jiang became anxious as soon as he saw that there was no good news for him. Why doesn't there be a share of my family, Yu Chen? Shen Yaning raised her lips and said, Grandpa, I used to be a fan of Teacher Jiang, not his fan. I'm not ashamed of him, but for the sake of Grandpa's shared hardships with me, I'll give you 30 points. Grandpa Jiang's eyebrows lit up with joy in an instant. In order to avoid some thorns on the way to lying down and winning, he directly suggested to the director. Director, in order to give Grandma Hua more time to spend with her idol, I have decided to switch with her. It's not a last-minute change, it's a full season change. Grandma Hua. Oh, thank you so much. Jiang Yuchen's face darkened, making it difficult to say, Grandpa Jiang. What can't I do? I'll be the first to pick my grandson. Ha ha ha. Grandpa Jiang, the comedian has really hit the nail on the head. Shen Yaning is very good at being a good person. Find a reason to give away points so that people won't feel embarrassed. Heartbeat +1. Vertically enter the pit. In the end, the production team naturally did not agree to Grandpa Jiang's proposal. And after a tiring day, everyone actually wanted to rest for a long time. While the other guests were saying good night to their fans, Shen Yaning asked the director to take her with them and become an idol. A video of Shen Yaning walking side by side with the director and disappearing into the darkness made it to the trending list a few hours later and stayed on the list for half a night. After waking up, Shen Yaning's continuous yawning was maliciously interpreted by netizens as the result of working overnight with the director in bed. After seeing the hot search, Shen Yaning showed no signs of nervousness, only a slight frown. Director, the popularity of the program is already high enough. Can we not maintain the popularity in this way? My reputation doesn't matter, the key director is someone with a family, you have to give your sister-in-law a sense of security. The director understood Shen Yaning's meaning and said, this video was not made by me. Shen Yaning's first reaction was, in the program team, there are my black fans. The director dare not give a definite answer. I can't say for sure. Shen Yaning suddenly raised her lips and smiled at the director. Director, did you use to search on the internet? Director. No, what's wrong? Shen Yaning sarcastically said, then stay on the hot search for a while longer, in case you don't have a chance in the future. The director glared angrily and shouted, you can't expect me to be a little better. Shen Yaning returned the phone to the director and said, listen to me, let this hot search hang up for a while longer. The popularity of free black fans should not be wasted. The director had a headache and said, how can we clarify this crucial matter? Shen Yaning wanted to laugh a bit and said, clarify what? Even if there is a video to prove that you left and returned in less than 5 minutes, those orphans will only say, you're too short, losing face as a man. The director blushed and said, your sister.in.law is happy. Don't spread rumors about me. Shen Yaning stopped teasing the director and turned to the camera and said. Black fans, please, when spreading rumors in the future, remember to use your brain more. Sister is a beauty control, of course. I'm not saying that the director is not handsome, he's just not within Sister's aesthetic range. The conversation between the two indirectly clarified the rumors online. Black fans, did you hear me? My Ning Ning is a beauty control, remember to pick a handsome guy when spreading rumors in the future. The director was once again fiercely controlled by Shen Yaning, suddenly realized that Shen Yaning is so interesting. It doesn't feel like he's a character. I've been talking for a while, but still haven't explained. What did the two of them go to last night? Once Shen Yaning becomes interested in something, she can't sleep at night, such as crab roe rice. From childhood to adulthood, she has visited countless 5-star restaurants, but the crab roe rice they make is not as delicious as the one she had last night. So, she only begged the director to take her to see the cook last night. It has been proven that she is also very talented in cooking. She learned the complicated process of crab roe rice in just 2 hours. And her learning place last night was in the back kitchen of a restaurant in Bagpipe Village. And the kitchen in the restaurant is monitored. After the program team released the surveillance footage of Shen Yaning studying kitchen late at night, a new hot search emerged. Hashtag Shen Yaning, this foodie, is too rolled up. Hashtag a child who loves learning so much, mom loves it. If there is hot search, there will be popularity. Shen Yaning, as a newcomer who doesn't even touch the 18th tier, has brought almost as much popularity to the program as Jiang Yuchen, a top-tier performer. I just live-streamed for a day, and my Weibo fans have directly increased by 2 million, really amazing. The darker I get, the more I love. I have become a loyal fan of Shen Yaning. Is it just me curious? Who made that video? It's so despicable. The production team must give Ning Ning an explanation to my family. After finishing work last night, the equipment has been turned off. But there is a very high wind vane 100 meters west of the beach, and a small camera is installed below the vane. If you don't look carefully, you really can't see it. The monitoring equipment recorded the person who secretly filmed last night. To Shen Yaning's surprise, the so-called black fans were not any staff members, but rather the assistant next to Gu Mingyan. Xiaozuo. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Hurry up and test the birth dates and 8 characters of the two people. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. Hurry up and test the birth dates and 8 characters of the two people. During lunch break, Shen Yaning deliberately walked further along the seaside. When Gu Mingyan caught up with Xiaozuo, she was playing barefoot in the water. Yaning, I'm really sorry about last night's hot search. It's my fault for not managing my own people well and causing damage to your reputation. Teacher Shen, Mingyan was not aware of this matter. The company asked me to take the photo, and I had no choice but to ask Teacher Shen to forgive me for this. Gu Mingyan knew or didn't know about this matter, and Shen Yaning didn't care. However, as the female protagonist in the book, Gu Mingyan shouldn't have made such a low-level mistake. I once mentioned you on Weibo, now we're even. Shen Yaning did not want to form an enemy with Gu Mingyan. She only hopes that Gu Mingyan and Jiang Yuchen can be together quickly, so that she may be able to return to reality. Of course, this is just her guess. After all, she didn't bind any system after wearing the book. I will repay this favor. Just as Gu Mingyan left, Jiang Yuchen came to find her. The drama, With You in My Heart, is currently being prepared, and the second female lead has not been finalized yet. I have already had the script sent to various parties. Shen Yaning walked back and forth barefoot in front of Jiang Yuchen. Sure enough, it's a domineering persona, using resources directly to handle troubles for the woman you like. But I don't have any plans to film yet. Jiang Yuchen was clearly surprised and said, so what do you want? Endorsement. Shen Yaning shook her head with a smile and said, as for me, I know some divination skills. Teacher Jiang and Teacher Gu are destined to marry by fate. However, there is a fate in your marriage. If Teacher Jiang wants to break this fate, he must marry her within a month. Jiang Yuchen didn't believe this at all. You really don't pursue the hot search. Shen Yaning explained, I am now a CP fan of you and Teacher Gu. As long as my CP can come true and you chop me up, I will be willing to serve as your food and drink. Jiang Yuchen. In the distance, Grandpa Jiang is holding his phone and video chatting with his daughter. Law. The mobile phone camera is currently in a rear position, aiming in the direction where Shen Yaning and Jiang Yuchen are located. How about it? Is it a great match? Hurry up and test the birth dates and 8 characters of the two. If they match, I hope to have a great-grandson next year. Jiang's mother looked at the girl in the video. Just reaching his son's chin, he is wearing a white printed T-shirt and a navy blue quick-drying shorts, with a beach hat and shorts in the same color scheme on his head. Her skin is so white that it shines, and her features are small and delicate. When she smiles, there are 2 pair swirls at the corner of her mouth, which is really cute. Dad, not many girls in this circle are clean. In addition, she is also a versatile entertainment artist, indicating how chaotic her private life can be in Jiang's mother's eyes. Her son is a particularly outstanding presence, and she looks down on ordinary socialites, let alone Shen Yaning who has no background. Even if she hasn't been poisoned by this circle yet, she's not suitable to be with Ah Chen. A marriage that doesn't belong to the right family won't last long. Grandpa Jiang actually has this consideration, but he really likes Shen Yaning. As a person who has gone through many vicissitudes and is over the ages, he feels that he is still accurate in judging people. This little girl is witty and humorous, calm in times of change, and very ambitious. She will definitely achieve great things in the future. Can you ask someone to check and see if she has any leverage on the situation? Got it. Jiang's mother readily agreed. In her opinion, the variety of artists is no different from some kind of sharp-mouthed animal, both of which can sell their bodies for a little profit. After reading the information about that girl, the old man probably won't be making any more random comments. The small fishing village has a beautiful name called Fundi Village, and this village has now been developed into a resort by the developer. In the village, the amusement equipment is complete. Because one of the investors of the program, my neighbor, was involved in this project, the first recording stop was chosen here. In the morning, the director arranged a task for 4 groups of guests to borrow ingredients from the village and make their own lunch. Shen Yaning and Grandpa Jiang were once again in a group, and the two chose to continue lying flat. 4 dishes and 1 soup, all spent on points, even cooking is bought by a chef using points. The points I only received last night were lost in less than a day, leaving only 10 points. In the afternoon, the production team arranged another clam opening competition for everyone. It's still a group of 2, free grouping, with a competition time of 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, the number of beads will be used as the basis for judgment. The top 3 players can receive 3, 2, and 1 chance to draw points, and the beads they take out can be taken home as souvenirs. The guests began to get excited, rubbing their hands and preparing for a big fight. Chen Cheng took the opportunity to talk to Gu Mingyan. Yan, I remember you seem to enjoy driving this. Gu Mingyan put on her gloves and gave Chen Cheng a gentle smile. I played the role of a jewelry designer before, with a storyline of opening clams. At first, I thought it was quite fun, but the more I opened it, the more addictive it became. After hearing this, Grandpa Jiang leaned his head towards Shen Yaning and whispered quietly. Don't be under pressure, let's just fight for 2 out of 3 this time. Shen Yaning started digging a pit for the old man. Grandpa, do you think who would be the last one? Grandpa Jiang pointed to Chen Qing next to him with his eyes. He only has a good mouth, but his hands-on ability is not good. After hearing this, Chen Qing felt like crying without tears. Grandpa Jiang, you look down on people a bit. I think it's uncertain who is the last one between our two groups. Grandpa Jiang was provoked. Do you dare to bet? 20 points. Chen Qing is very confident, because of Gu Mingyan's relationship, he has some understanding of the matter of opening a clam. If your ranking exceeds ours, I will ask the program team to lend you 20 points. Shen Yaning has been listening quietly beside her, as if searching for a suitable time to interject. What if our group can win first place? Chen Qing cut his throat, and in his heart, Gu Mingyan was already the first. If you want to dream, do it at night. It's not suitable for the day. Shen Yaning raised her chin and provoked. 50 points, dare you bet? Chen Qing is quite wealthy at this moment. Don't go for 50, 100 points. Sure. Grandpa Jiang tugged at Shen Yaning's arm, clearly feeling a bit anxious. Do you really want to bet so much? Shen Yaning raised his hand and lightly patted the old man's arm, comforting him. I really dreamt last night that I received a certificate, and I think it's a good omen. Grandpa Jiang suddenly had a heart attack. Dreams, most of them are negative. It's just a matter of gambling. Anyway, owing 10 points is owing, and owing 100 points is also owing. Chen Qing placed all his hopes on Gu Mingyan. Yen, can I become rich in a day? It's all up to you. Before the competition, the staff who raised pearl clams demonstrated to everyone. It seemed quite easy, but in practice, it was not that easy, especially for beginners. Compared to other guests, Gu Mingyan's clam opening speed is quite fast, averaging 56 seconds per clam, even cutting and taking beads. Time passed by minute by second, and the audience in the live broadcast room began to become nervous. Yan's speed is guaranteed to win. It feels like Shen Yaning is so selfish. She's not the only one in a group. If she loses, Grandpa Jiang will also be in debt. I seem to have seen the words confident on Shen Yaning's face. What do you rely on to have a clear mind? Do you rely on dreams? I laughed faintly. Chen Qing seems to have been looking in the direction of Shen Yaning all along, and his expression. Why did I suddenly have a bad premonition? Gu Mingyan also looked over and panicked. She panicked. It seems that Shen Yaning's speed of opening clams is not slow. No wonder she wants to gamble so much. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. 2 or 3 matters between Shen Yaning and the teacher. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. 2 or 3 matters between Shen Yaning and the teacher. The production team knows how to create a tense atmosphere and suspense. When the countdown to the competition began, Shen Yaning's group appeared on camera. I saw Shen Yaning pressing the shell with her left hand and holding a knife with her right hand. The closed shell muscle, which looked very firm, was cut open by her with one knife, making it extremely easy. Her movement of taking beads on the membrane was also very fast, and the entire process lasted for less than 30 seconds. And Grandpa Jiang, who was next to her, had completely petrified by now. 10 minutes later, Shen Yaning immediately put down the cutting tool. The staff first counted from Chen Qing, followed by Gu Mingyan, Jiang Yuchen, and Shen Yaning. The first group has 2 grades, the second group has 10 grades, the third group has 5 grades, the fourth group has 21 grades. Chen Qingli stood beside Shen Yaning, looking at the frame in front of her, which was already filled with pearl clam shells. I must be dreaming. Shen Yaning retorted rudely. Teacher Chen, it's daytime now. Chen Qing felt like crying without tears and said, can we not count the bet? Shen Yaning smiled and said, Teacher Chen, your fans are still squatting in the live broadcast room. You need to set a good example for everyone. The live broadcast room was very lively, and everyone was not only amazed by Shen Yaning's speed in opening clams, but also curious about why she drove faster than professionals. The director asked everyone's thoughts, "Do you also often open clams?" Shen Yaning nodded and said, "Before entering this circle, I had worked in this area." After Grandpa Jiang regained his senses, he was overjoyed and said, "If you had said you knew how to open a clam earlier, I would have quoted 200 points from the beginning." Shen Yaning suppressed a smile and said, "Grandpa, be content." Due to a game, Shen Yaning's fans once again raised their eyebrows, but what impressed them even more is still to come. At the suggestion of Shen Yaning, the program team specially designed a lottery mini-program. When other guests drew, their luck either declined to the point of explosion, or good and bad went against each other. When Shen Yaning arrived, she drew 2 10s and 1 8s, each exceeding the average, 5. This luck is so good that everyone is jealous. In addition to luck, Shen Yaning's popularity has also surpassed that of other guests in the same group, which has also made fans of other guests very unhappy, especially fans of Gu Mingyan. So Shen Yaning was once again sent to a high-ranking hot search, and although the title was not as explosive as last night's Black Hot Search, it was also extremely powerful. Hashtag Shen Yaning seduces the teacher. Hashtag 2 or 3 things between Shen Yaning and the teacher. Shen Yaning was once again exposed online, and many people who claimed to be her classmates also began to follow various revelations. "I am her junior high school classmate, and her character is extremely poor. Her academic performance is not good either. If it weren't for having an affair with the teacher, she might not have been able to advance. She is very vain. I heard her family is very poor, but the clothes and shoes she wears are even more expensive than mine. Who knows where she got the money from? She cheated during the exam and was caught by the invigilator. I don't know why this matter ended up so unresolved afterwards." Although the content of the second season of The Next Generation has some innovation, it retains some of the content of the first season, such as the interaction between guests and audiences. This section is available in every issue. At the end of the current program recording, the staff will relay the questions from the audience in the live broadcast room to the guests being asked. No matter how sharp the question may be, the guests must answer it. Have you all watched the first season? But I need to explain the specific process of this segment again. The director smiled and squinted his eyes, looking somewhat excited. Because this stage is known as the traffic stage, it is highly likely that the guests' questions were raised by black fans. If they are unlucky, they can only seek their own blessings. For guests, you are only responsible for calling a stop and providing a number, and the staff will identify the corresponding problem in the screenshot. For the audience in the live broadcast room, if you want to interact with any guest, then wait until it's their turn to ask questions. Otherwise, it's impolite. If you happen to choose your question, it becomes an invalid question, isn't it? It's a waste of time. Alright, as usual, let's start from the far right. Chen Cheng, give a number and wait a few seconds before calling a stop. Chen Cheng, a person who can make black fans cry, naturally has no pressure. 6. Stop. The staff quickly took a screenshot and then paraphrased the 6th question in the screenshot. Are you here to participate in the second season of Next Generation because of Gu Mingyan? After all, Chen Cheng is a cross-talk performer with a sense of humor in his body. As a fan of Yan Jia, I can record programs with her on such formal occasions. I understand your envy, but don't just envy me. If you want to become as excellent as me, you still need to work harder. I have seen someone who is narcissistic. I have never seen someone so narcissistic. Excellent, is excellent enough to earn 100 points in debt. When it was Gu Mingyan's turn, she didn't know if it was her bad luck or if she had too many followers, and the selected questions were very unfriendly to her. It's rumored online that your mother had a third party intervene to have you. Is that true? Gu Mingyan's expression suddenly changed. Regarding this issue, she has never responded positively to netizens. Before coming to record the program, she actually had a lucky mentality. Whoever thought that the less she wanted to face something, the more it became. My biological mother is someone who dares to love and hate. When she was dating my dad, he was single, but later he couldn't be together for various reasons. Is my Yen Sanguan very upright? There is a woman like this, how could her mother be bad, only talking about before marriage and after marriage? Didn't it have a resurgence? You dare to love and hate. It's really shameless. In the entertainment industry, there is an unchanging law, which is that an artist's followers are directly proportional to their traffic. The higher the artist's traffic, the more followers they will have. Jiang Yuchen is the best example. But because he didn't have much black material, the black fans began to fabricate events out of thin air to slander him in various ways. Do you really like to chat with actresses late at night about scripts? Before Jiang Yuchen could answer, Grandpa Jiang beside him couldn't resist for a moment. If my grandson really has this hobby, haven't I had a great-grandson yet? I am now seeking a great-grandson with a lot of money. If anyone has the ability to make me have a great-grandson, I will give him to you directly. Jiang Yuchen raised his hand to stroke his forehead, and there was nothing he could do to take the old man. Women in the entertainment industry are so dirty. A wealthy young master like Jiang Yuchen should not have a problem with his own health. I was fortunate enough to have been in the same class as Jiang Yuchen. He has a good relationship with others and has many admirers, but I just didn't notice any of them. His vision is high. Unlike Grandpa Chen and Grandma Gu who have no sense of existence, Grandpa Jiang is now a popular variety show celebrity, and his speed of gaining followers seems to have surpassed that of Jiang Yuchen. May I ask, what are the criteria for Grandpa to choose his granddaughter-in-law? Grandpa Jiang seems to like this question very much. Before answering, he didn't forget to sneak a glance at Shen Yaning. She is beautiful, has an interesting personality, is quick-witted, and has super good luck. How do you feel that Grandpa Jiang's criteria for selecting his granddaughter-in-law were based on Shen Yaning's characteristics? Since ancient times, marriage between men and women has always emphasized the importance of matching one's family background. As for Shen Yaning's family background, I just kept quiet and didn't say a word. Shen Yaning is the last group, and due to the hot topic of black search, her black fans have already spread throughout the live broadcast room. Just as everyone was waiting to see her joke, she made everyone pounce. The first time I asked a question, I met a fan, the second question, it's fans again, the following times, as well. It has to be said that her luck is so good that even fans lack patience. In terms of dedication, Shen Yaning is quite competent. In order to increase the popularity of the program, she directly proposed it. Everyone is squatting in the live broadcast room, waiting to see me laugh. It's really hard work. Well, you don't have to keep typing on the keyboard. It's not good to have tenosynovitis. I asked the staff to randomly take a screenshot and select a few black comments from it. I'll answer them, sister. Don't be difficult, just choose from top to bottom. With Shen Yaning's words, the staff would have no worries. The first question is, are you suddenly losing fans? Is Jiang Yuchen playing a game of play hard to get? End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Shortcuts to the Rich Family. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. Shortcuts to the Rich Family. Shen Yaning chuckled softly, as if mocking the relatively low intelligence of the black fans. Playing to win. As for me, I may not be well understood by everyone yet. If I really meet someone I like, it's the kind of proactive and easy to get approach, not my style. The staff quickly asked the second question. Do you think this road is a shortcut to a wealthy family because you are so pleasing to Grandpa Jiang? Shen Yaning's features furrowed together, and she really didn't want to answer such a time-consuming question. There's no shortcut to a wealthy family. Don't just daydream all day. Set your sights high and become a wealthy family yourself. It's not better than marrying into one. When asked the third question, the staff paused before speaking out. Is it true that you have had an improper relationship with your own teacher, as rumored online? Shen Yaning naturally watched hot searches, and in her memory, although the original owner was vain, she was indeed remembered by her teacher, but the other party did not succeed. Before asking any questions in the future, please remember to put some water in your mind. I'm really worried about your future partner who is so big but lacks any judgment. Sister, even though she was born into a poor family, she still has a moral outlook. It's really impossible for her to seduce teachers into such despicable behavior. As for those people online who claim to be my classmates, we haven't seen each other for years, have we? Why don't we just recount the past in court? Grandpa Jiang listened more and more happily beside him. It's so satisfying to hear you scold people. In the live broadcast room, Shen Yaning's fans also listened with great pleasure. I would rather be domineering if I were to become a wealthy family myself. Ning ning, people like them who have lost their conscience should all be sued in court. It's okay to make black powder by oneself, but not by others. Is this called only allowing state officials to set fire and not allowing people to light lamps? Shen Yaning had already predicted the words of the black fans, and she faced the camera with a slight smile. In fact, in my eyes, black fans are also fans. You may not like me, but please do not physically attack me and the people around me, and do not spread rumors casually. What are the consequences of provoking me? If your stress resistance is not very good, I advise you not to be curious or try. Even the black interactive segment was easily passed by Shen Yaning. Half an hour later, hashtag Shen Yaning really pulled hashtag onto the hot search. Her fan growth rate is noticeably faster than before, with a faint trend of breaking 4. Swallows are clamoring for her to post fan benefits. After the recording of the program, Shen Yaning did not return to Yancheng, but flew directly to Chuncheng. Regarding this, agent Chen Guiqin expressed dissatisfaction because many endorsers had already come to their doorstep and were waiting for Shen Yaning to go back and sign. You need to transfer and come back immediately. Ask them to send some trial products over, and in 3 months, as long as the quality of the endorsement is satisfactory, I will sign it. 3 months. Who do you think you are? Top tier on the front line. I tell you, Shen Yaning, the fat that comes to her mouth. If you dare to let it be stolen, don't blame the company for putting pressure on you. After all, Chen Guiqin still doesn't believe that Shen Yaning has the ability to grow red. She felt that Shen Yaning's current popularity was purely accidental. So, she wanted to make a big profit while Shen Yaning was still in high demand, but Shen Yaning clearly didn't cooperate. If you want me to sign the contract, then everything is up to me. Otherwise, there's no need to talk. Shen Yaning is not just uncooperative. When dealing with unscrupulous agents like Chen Guiqin, she only needs to ride her neck. Chen Guiqin thought she had picked up a Pomeranian dog. Who would have thought that the other party was actually a husky? How disobedient. Shen Yaning, I'm not joking with you. If the company can praise you, it can naturally ban you. If you still want to record the second episode of the program, you'd better be obedient to me. When was Shen Yaning threatened so much? Don't worry, Sister Chen. I'll start writing on Weibo now and say that I won't record the second episode of the program. Chen Guiqin's face turned green with anger, but she still lowered her stance for the sake of profit. Don't always think that forcing you to take on the job is harming you. You have signed a gambling agreement with the company. It's not easy to earn 1 billion yuan over 3 years. Your current popularity is very high, but it's only temporary. Once the popularity is over, look who will still throw an olive branch at you. Shen Yaning replied directly in a tone that was infuriating and not worth his life. In 3 years' time, if I don't earn enough to make 100 million for the company, I'm willing to give up. Chen Guiqin took a deep breath, then a deep breath, feeling that one day she would be suffocated by Shen Yaning. You're really hard on your wings now, you don't even pay attention to me anymore. What's wrong? Is your gold lord some well-known aristocrat? I can't afford to provoke him. Shen Yaning ignored Chen Guiqin's probing and announced directly. Sister Chen, no matter what resources come to your door in the future, please remember to ask me first. If I am not willing to accept them, just help me push them away. Of course, if Sister Chen feels that being my agent is too unfair, then please ask the company to help me change my agent. The phone has been hung up. Chen Guiqin has never encountered an artist who is difficult to train, but someone like Shen Yaning who is so difficult to train is truly the first to do so. As soon as Shen Yaning landed, she went directly to the largest raw stone mining site in Chuncheng, where there were more than 10 stone appraisers, all over 40 years old. In any field, there will be a trend of exclusionary behavior. In addition, Shen Yaning is still young and in their eyes, he doesn't have much experience, so he naturally doesn't deserve to work with them. The leader ordered that this new colleague has the same say as them. Even if they are dissatisfied, they can only endure it. The stone identification team here is divided into 4 groups, with approximately 3.5 people in each group. Shen Yaning was divided into 4 groups, of which only 3 people were not very welcome to her arrival. Xiaoshen, right. As for me, regardless of whose relationship you entered through, there are some things that I have to say first. The team leader's surname is Yuan, 46 years old, male, who has been here for 16 years. He speaks quite straightforwardly and says whatever he wants. Although the salary of each appraiser is linked to their own performance, if your performance is not good, it will directly affect the performance of the entire group, and even worse, it will affect our year-end bonus. You can stay here for 3 months first. If your performance has hindered our entire team, we hope you can leave on your own. Shen Yaning is actually quite familiar with this industry, so she can understand the concerns of team leader Yuan. People are all materialistic. Don't worry, team leader. It won't take 3 months. In 1 month, if my performance drags everyone down, I will leave immediately. You said it yourself. Team leader Yuan and the other 2 team members finally breathed a sigh of relief. Shen Yaning was brought into the mining site by fellow team member Yang Shifu, who familiarized herself with the working environment. She also learned from her that one group had won the performance championship for several years, while most of the 4 groups were in 3rd place. Performance is related to the per capita stone output rate and per capita misjudgment rate, and everyone's performance is also related to the monthly performance ranking. 1st place, each member in the group receives a performance bonus of 800,000 yuan, followed by a ranking decrease of 200,000 yuan. The year-end bonus is also related to monthly performance, and the championship group's year-end bonus can reach millions. Shen Yaning was thus assigned to a mining area known for its extremely low stone extraction rate. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. This old lady did a great job. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. This old lady did a great job. After the rough stones are mined by the workers, they will be concentrated in an open area for selection by the appraiser. The selected ones will be kept, while the unselected ones will be sent to the raw stone market. Due to the high error rate of stone appraisers, the raw stones circulating in the external market may not necessarily lack good quality. Shen Yaning is very dedicated and started working after handing over to her seniors. Stone appraisers have a specific set of standards when identifying raw stones. They may release materials that are not particularly superior, but these materials are considered valuable by those buyers. In the next 3 days, Shen Yaning worked diligently, getting up early and going dark. The error rate of the original stone identified by her is as low as 0.5%. What is this concept? Even Wang Qinghai, the group leader who claimed to be the king of stone appreciation, was shocked upon hearing this. This little girl, there's something there. Not really, her land has a low stone yield rate. It's already good to produce a few tens of yuan a day, and the probability of producing good goods is also extremely low. But when they come, the abandoned land has become a treasure. In just 3 days, a 300-pound imperial green was produced. We haven't produced this level of material here for 2 years. Not only that imperial green, but also 3 glass seeds and 8 high ice seeds were discovered in the rough stones she identified. What's most surprising is that the accuracy of the rough stones she identified is almost 100%. No wonder young people can come to our place, and I don't know where the boss got the talent from. Shen Yaning became a popular figure in the raw stone mining field overnight. The members of each group lowered their posture in order to discuss the method of identifying stones with her. Shen Yaning is generous in sparring, but this profession requires not only professional knowledge and rich experience, but also luck and courage. Are you? Part-time. What is your main job then? The other masters who learned that Shen Yaning only worked a few days a month were shocked and puzzled. A job that can earn more money than this one must be the boss. Those who do literary and artistic work. Shen Yaning replied lightly. The masters may have thought she was a talent, so they began to act as matchmakers, hoping to salvage her from their own homes. After all, it was a precious gem, and if they found it, they would make a profit. Shen Yaning had no choice but to shirk and say that he was just discussing something. The recording location for the second episode of the program is in Luojing. Luojing is a historic and cultural ancient city. It not only has the ruins of the ancient capital, but also many scenic spots worth visiting, among which the vast fields of peonies are the most beautiful. After the guests gathered together, Shen Yaning realized that Grandma Hua, who was in her group, had withdrawn from the program due to some personal reasons. She was replaced by an elderly woman in her 70s. My surname is Pei. There are children and grandchildren. But because their descendants are unfilial, they came to the program to seek warmth. From the director's polite attitude towards the old lady, it seems that this person has a considerable background. What do you want for lunch? It's all up to you, whether it's delicacies from the mountains and seas, a simple meal, or pouring air into your stomach. After the new and old guests got to know each other, the director began assigning tasks. Next, we will work in pairs, either making money by performing arts or begging along the street. In short, in order to fill our stomachs, everyone needs to rely on their own abilities. As soon as the task was assigned, Grandpa Jiang immediately stood by Shen Yaning's side. I'm still in the same group as Ning Ning. Grandma Pei's eyes widened, but she was not a good person. She pulled Shen Yaning towards her and choked. Why are you? Your own grandson is right there and you're here to grab someone from me. Grandpa Jiang reached out and grabbed Shen Yaning's arm, wanting to pull it towards him. I agreed with Ning Ning in the previous issue that we will work together until the final one. You are late and can only choose the remaining ones. Grandma Pei began to have a stalemate with Grandpa Jiang. When did you see me picking up excess? She's mine today. The two elders seemed to have a tacit understanding and looked at Shen Yaning, who was standing between them. You choose. Shen Yaning looked at this, then at that, and then proposed. How about you two guess Dinka? Grandma Pei and Grandpa Jiang spoke in unison. You have to choose. Shen Yaning smiled back. Then I'll draw lots. The staff immediately made 2 paper balls and delivered them to Shen Yaning. Shen Yaning casually picked up one and unfolded it. Pei. Grandma Pei lifted her chin and snorted proudly at Grandpa Jiang, mine is mine, you can't even snatch it. Grandpa Jiang was not angry at all, but before leaving, he whispered a reminder in Shen Yaning's ear, this old lady is doing a good job. You should seek your own blessings. Shen Yaning raised her eyebrows, always feeling that the old man had something to say. The 4 groups of guests split up and acted like this. The camera first showed Mr. Chen and his grandson. Chen Qing didn't want to come and beg for a meal, so he had to perform on the street. A cool-dressed big boy sang Peking opera to everyone amidst a chorus of cheers, and in the end, his voice was hoarse. The camera turned and landed on Gu Mingyan. Gu Mingyan and Grandma Gu wandered around the street, but couldn't hide their face and performed on the street. Fortunately, Gu Mingyan had many passers-by fans and warmly invited them to their home for dinner. Arriving at Jiang Yuchen's place, the art style changed. Jiang Yuchen, as a top-tier fan, can rely on his fans to fill his stomach, but unfortunately, he has a grandpa who cheats his grandchildren and takes him to an event venue. The winner of the breath-holding competition will receive a prize of 800 yuan. The old man, citing his age, directly pushed his grandson onto the stage. Jiang Yuchen's lung capacity is still good. He held his breath for 1 minute and 49 seconds, but did not win the championship. He was even scolded by his own grandfather, saying, if Ning Ning were here, he would definitely be the champion. Jiang Yuchen was speechless and said, you think she's too versatile. Grandpa Jiang has his own logic. She's not omnipotent, she's lucky. If she comes to participate in the competition, other contestants will definitely perform poorly. Jiang Yuchen suddenly stopped talking. The audience in the live broadcast room laughed wildly. Everyone else is, my grandson is the best. When I come to Grandpa Jiang's place, I want to be someone else's grandfather. It's so funny. I'm so amazing, I easily manage to get a meal. I don't know what fans of a certain company can boast about. Others earn money with their own hands, while others rely on their skin. Everyone, go and see Shen Yaning. She has encountered someone who has hit the porcelain. At the request of fans, 4 groups of guests have their own live streaming channels. Shen Yaning has been extremely popular recently, and the number of people online in her live broadcast room has exceeded that of the first-tier actress Gu Mingyan. Go back half an hour in time. After discussing with Grandma Pei, Shen Yaning planned to try her luck on the west side of the city, but ended up encountering someone who was trying porcelain. Because the original owner did not have a driver's license, the car was driven by Grandma Pei. Although she was over 70 years old, her reaction was still quick. Just 1 second before colliding with the other person, she suddenly braked the car. Cute book enthusiasts, the new article urgently needs data support. If you still like this article, please like it, save it and leave a footprint. The recommended ticket is free. Special thanks. Bow, bow, bow again. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. My face, commonly used in 5-star restaurants nationwide. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. My face, commonly used in 5-star restaurants nationwide. The old lady who touched the porcelain was lying on the ground, then she closed her eyes and didn't move. A middle-aged lady dressed in simple clothes quickly jumped out of the pedestrians, stood in front of the car, and began to curse loudly. How did you drive the car? You're blind. Such a big living person didn't see it. Grandma Pei has had a smooth sailing all her life. She has never seen such a scene before. She was completely scared. I didn't hit her, it was her own. It was her own sudden escape. Shen Yaning remained calm when encountering difficulties. She first had the cameraman report to the police before opening the door and getting off the car. The old lady on the ground still knew nothing, but the elder sister was so skilled in acting that she knelt down in front of her and began to cry uncontrollably. Mom! Mom, wake up! You can't leave me alone. Shen Yaning walked around to the front of the car and glanced at the position where the old lady was lying. It was only 5 or 6 centimeters away from the front of the car. Fortunately, Grandma Pei stepped on the brake in time, otherwise it would have really turned into a car accident. I understand some first aid knowledge. Grandma is getting older, and if she doesn't receive timely treatment, it can be very dangerous. Shen Yaning took a few steps forward, intending to give the audience in the live broadcast room a anti-counterfeiting teaching, but was stopped by the big sister. Are you a doctor? If not, please stand aside. I have to wait for an ambulance to arrive. After Grandma Pei calmed down, she also got off the car and looked at the porcelain collider with anger in her eyes. Even though you deliberately hit the porcelain, the car never hit her at all. The elder sister looked up and down at Grandma Pei, and her tone suddenly became eerie. I said, how could there be a car accident? It turned out that the driver was an old man. Grandma Pei comes from a wealthy family and has been pampered and protected by her family all her life. She has never seen the treacherous people outside, and was almost crying when she was scolded by her elder sister. What's wrong with the elderly? I have a driver's license, okay? My license is checked every year. My body is also very healthy, and my reaction is not worse than that of young people. Just now, it was clearly your mother's intention to bump into it. Aren't you afraid of being caught for hitting porcelain like this? The elder sister suddenly jumped up from the ground and approached Grandma Pei with great momentum. If you have the ability, just report it to the police. In today's traffic accident, you may have your driver's license revoked, but in severe cases, you can stay in jail until you die. Grandma Pei felt anxious and wanted to call her son. Shen Yanning suddenly let out a sigh, and everyone's eyes were immediately drawn to her. She was seen squatting next to the old lady who was knocking porcelain, her voice full of fear. Why is there so much blood flowing from under my body? The old lady, who was still pretending to sleep, was frightened and immediately sat up. After realizing that she had been deceived, she slowly lay back down. Hey, my waist is hurting me so much, shouldn't it be broken? Shen Yanning crouched down and pointed to the car sponsored by the naming company, starting to implant advertisements. Grandma, do you know this car? The newly released car has a luxurious appearance, right? Its interior space is particularly spacious, with a beautiful interior that exudes a strong sense of technology. It is fuel-efficient and powerful. Oh, by the way, it also has a driving recorder. As long as I hand it over to the police, it will be evidence of your collision with us. The old lady was clearly intimidated by Shen Yanning's words, and her gaze immediately drifted towards her daughter, but the other party did not intend to stop there. Not to mention that the police are here, it's also your responsibility that the heavenly King Laozi is here. My mother is old and has poor eyesight. She didn't see the car you were driving over clearly, it's normal. If it's the first time, it will be very tense to group and touch porcelain. But the two of them, obviously very skilled in this matter, seem to be two habitual offenders. Shen Yanning stood up straight, facing the woman, and whispered softly. Do you know why there's a cameraman behind me? We are recording a program in the form of a live broadcast, which means there are millions of viewers in the live broadcast room paying attention to this matter. I believe it won't be long before you are sent to Weibo's hot search, and those who have been harmed by you should collectively come forward to accuse you. Fraud, extortion, if sentenced, can range from several months' imprisonment to several years' imprisonment. In the live broadcast room, the audience almost laughed and withdrew. Looking back several times, it's undoubtedly a perfect match. Shen Yanning is so funny, the advertising placement is so unexpected. I am a college student, but my legal knowledge is not as good as someone who only graduated from junior high school. I feel ashamed these two are repeat offenders, and I am one of the victims. If necessary, I am willing to testify. After weighing things, the elder sister gave her accomplice a glance and wanted to withdraw, but she didn't withdraw. Because the police are here. It's you two again. The mother and daughter are indeed regulars at the local police station. They just came out of prison a few months ago and resumed their old profession after a few days of rest. Hey, officer, we're really not hitting each other. My mom has poor eyesight and didn't see the oncoming car. Besides, I didn't ask them for money, but my mother is getting old and her bones are all crispy. In case I have to take her to the hospital for a check. Up. Shen Yanning's gaze stiffened and fell directly on the old lady's left foot. Just now, when she rushed out, her left foot seemed to have turned a bit. After the examination, what about using the old wound on the body to make another mistake? Or asking for a shock fee for the elderly person? Well, for safety reasons, I think we should have Grandma go to the hospital for a full body examination. If the responsibility lies with us, we will cover all the expenses. If the responsibility lies with you, then you will have to pay for the medical expenses yourself. How could the other party possibly spend this unjustified money? They want to settle things now. Mom, how do you feel? Do you need to go to the hospital? The old lady shook her head in fear. No need, it's just a sprained foot, it's not a problem. The mother and daughter were eventually taken back to the police station by the police. Shen Yaning and Grandma Pei also went with them, but after completing their notes, they had no intention of leaving. Deputy Bureau Qin, you see, due to this matter, we haven't completed our task and I'm afraid we'll have to go hungry at noon. Shen Yaning's meaning is instantly understood by Deputy Bureau Qin. I'll treat you to this lunch. The old lady in front of him is the person he personally called to take care of, and he dare not neglect. Shen Yaning didn't want to take advantage of others, so she suggested. How can Vice Bureau Qin spend money? Do you think this is okay? I'll give the cafeteria staff a try, and I also want to try our police officers' work meals. Upon hearing this, Grandma Pei became unhappy. What's delicious about the food in the cafeteria? I'm going to a restaurant to eat. Shen Yaning finally found out why Grandpa Jiang made her seek her own blessings. This old lady is a bit presumptuous. Grandma, theoretically speaking, they have cleared you of any wrongdoing. You should have invited us for this lunch. Grandma Pei still understands this bit of worldly wisdom. I didn't say to ask someone to invite me either. Shen Yaning couldn't help but remind. The production team has a clear rule that lunch cannot be solved with their own money. Grandma Pei lifted her round chin with a proud and delicate expression. My face, a 5-star hotel nationwide, universal. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. This old lady has a big background. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. This old lady has a big background. Grandma Pei repeatedly insisted on treating guests, and Shen Yaning couldn't say anything more. Anyway, just complete the task and do whatever she likes. Half an hour later, this pair of temporary grandparents and grandchildren appeared at the Pan Tao Feast, the most famous 6-star restaurant in Luojing. However, for some reasons, Deputy Bureau Qin did not come along. Grandma, good afternoon. Grandma, please come this way. The restaurant welcomed the guests, who were tall and beautiful like flowers. As soon as they saw Grandma Pei, they stepped on her high heels and quickly welcomed her with a respectful and flattering attitude. Shen Yaning was not surprised at all. Grandma Pei may appear to be dressed simply, but the outfit she wears is clearly a custom-made one, with superior workmanship and materials. And the pair of Pei Chui bracelets she was wearing on her wrist, which were extremely good at planting water. If they were to be auctioned off, there would also be people vying for 9 figures. This wealthy woman must be from a business family and is doing a lot of business. Grandma, what do you want to eat for lunch? The two were welcomed into a small room on the 18th floor, which had an elegant environment. The dining table was placed by the window, allowing guests to enjoy a panoramic view of the river while dining. First, serve a pot of pu'er tea. As for the dishes, I'll have 4 portions of spinach baked eggs, meat pie, and rock sugar blood swallow. Then let's have another East Star Spot and 4 dragons, as well as this chocolate pudding and black skin watermelon fruit plate. We'll also have 4 servings. After Grandma Pei took her seat, she took the menu directly and skillfully ordered the dishes, which seemed to be frequent. You can order a few more. When the menu was handed to Shen Yaning, she did not open it. I've ordered quite a few already, and in the principle of not wasting food, I won't say more if it's not enough. No, I have to order a few more. As the host today, there's no reason not to let guests order. Shen Yaning had no choice but to point to the camera and say, Grandma, the camera is still on. As a public figure, even the slightest flaw in your body will be magnified by black fans. If you don't have strong psychological resilience, I suggest we eat as much as we want. Grandma Pei eventually compromised, her expression of wanting to go her own way and worrying about being criticized by netizens was very real. "I'll go, why did this old lady come from? She can even brush her face at the peach banquet. This restaurant is not something that ordinary people can afford. A dish of spinach and eggs costs over 6,000 yuan. I really don't understand the world of wealthy people. This dish is expensive because of the caviar on top. That meat pie is even more expensive, it costs tens of thousands." Who knows about the identity of the curious old lady? My friend is a staff member of the production team. I heard from her that this old lady has a good background, and the producers and directors are all respectful when they see her. Shen Yanning is not as gossipy as netizens. In her eyes, food always attracts her attention more than anything else. And among the dishes on the table, she loves mushroom beef pie the most. This dish is made from sh beef, matsutake, black truffles, golden leaves, and aged red wine. The taste is very good. Grandma Pei's greatest hobby in her life was showing off her children to others, but the atmosphere was so intense that the little girl in front of her only knew how to eat and didn't give her a chance to show off. "You're not curious, why can I brush my face and eat at this restaurant?" Shen Yanning chewed the food in her mouth and swallowed it before speculating. "Grandma is a shareholder of this restaurant. It's not me, it's my third child. This restaurant was a very small one 10 years ago. When it was about to go bankrupt, my third child invested a lot of money in it, and the restaurant quickly came back to life." Grandma Pei boasted about her son, feeling proud and chattering incessantly, as if a single word could not express his kindness. "I thought he was going to work in the catering industry, but as soon as he turned around, he started his jade and stone business again. He was so busy that he didn't even have time to go home and accompany me." Grandma Pei was boasting and suddenly became sentimental. As people age, they always hope that their children and grandchildren can share the joy of family. Now that the boss and the second wife have both wives and children, he's the only one left, not even looking for a girlfriend. "I'm so anxious." Shen Yanning could only console and say, "Maybe fate hasn't arrived yet." Speaking of fate, Grandma Pei became even more angry. "You don't know, from when he started elementary school until now, the girls who wanted to be his daughter-in-law have been able to line up from the east to the west of the river, and he's just not interested." Shen Yanning suddenly had a bad premonition. "I haven't even found a girlfriend before." Grandma Pei sighed and sighed. "No." Shen Yanning gently raised her eyebrows. "The old lady is over 70 years old this year, so her son should be over 40 anyway. Above 40, not looking for a girlfriend, it's a bit hanging." "Grandma, didn't you just say that? He's too busy to spend time with you, so how could he have time to talk about his girlfriend?" Now it's live streaming, and Shen Yanning can't be too straightforward. Perhaps the old lady's heart is already like a mirror, just unwilling to accept the facts. "The matter of fate is really urgent, why don't you be patient and wait a little longer? You don't know, I've thought of anything to get him out of singlehood. I even went to the temple to find a master to test his handwriting, and the master said, there's no such thing as marriage in his life. During that time, it made me worried." When Grandma Pei mentioned the rise, she couldn't hold back. "However, I'm not in such a hurry now. I burned incense at the temple a few days ago and had the master test it again. Guess what? Is there a marriage line? Again. The master said that his destiny should not have changed in theory, but the fact is that not only has it changed, but a positive fate has also emerged, right in the entertainment industry. In the entertainment industry, their marriage may be a bit bumpy." "How could it be bumpy? My expectations for my future daughter-in-law have dropped from so high to so low." Grandma Pei raised her hand and made a sudden drop, but her expression remained somewhat harsh. "If it were in the past, I would never have considered the girls in this circle. But now, my requirements have become lower. As long as she is a responsible person and my son likes it, I will turn a blind eye. Shen Yaning shrugged his shoulders without hesitation. Grandma Pei's flashy time was not over yet. She picked up her phone, took out a photo from the album, and handed it to Shen Yaning. By the way, my third son is really handsome. If you don't believe me, take a look. Shen Yaning was forced to take a glance and then froze. The man in the photo. She knows him. Isn't he handsome? He's just a bit cold and doesn't like to talk or laugh. In Grandma Pei's eyes, her son stood out among the crowd, and no one in the country could match him. However, these cannot be considered shortcomings. Nowadays, many girls like this type of thing, which seems to be called high-cold. Abstinent style. In the live broadcast room, a group of single women, after seeing the man's face clearly, instantly cast aside their reserved demeanor. Mother.in.law, do I have time to do a group performance now? Grandma, my family is not bad, I'm pretty good, and my personality is invincible. Please give me a chance. Grandma suddenly entered the circle, probably just to search for her daughter.in.law. Blind guess, although Gu Mingyan is an illegitimate daughter, she is the apple of the eye of the Gu family. Most wealthy people like them cannot escape the fate of marriage alliances. The probability of Cinderella marrying into a wealthy family cannot be said to be non-existent, it can only be said that the probability is extremely low. End of this chapter.